But is he the best player in this draft on his own? Without a doubt.
Please show me a better example of a Bruce Arians quarterback.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Tank Observers Podcast. My name is Jackson McCarty, alongside my co-host Chris Barr. And before we get into it, I would like to address some issues we had last week. Obviously, it was what I think was one of our better shows.
Yeah, probably.
But the footage was cursed. We couldn't, for the life of us, get it to work with us. Eventually, we just had to upload it. We were already a day or 2 days behind schedule?
We were about a day and a half, maybe 2 days behind schedule, pretty much exactly what you said, and it wasn't cooperative.
No, and we didn't want to have a huge pileup of the other members of the Nexus Sports Network. We didn't want to have 3 podcasts coming out within 8-9 hours of each other because that's just we'd like to spread it out for you guys. And so we apologize for how it was acting up on us. We're obviously still new to this, and we hope you guys kind of understand because we're still learning. But Topher, what are we doing today?
All right, today we are going to take you through some combine studs and duds.
Yep.
And there were plenty of each. And then after that, we're going to kind of talk about free agents who might have benefited from some of these combine performance and some who got outshined by others.
Yeah, obviously we're going to have a big combine-centric podcast because over this past weekend that's what was going on. And Topher, let's just jump into it hot. Who was your stud? Who was the guy you thought improved his where he's going to get drafted the most from this weekend?
Albert O.
You want to give that last name a shot?
Huegbanam.
Yeah, that's what I'm going with.
All right, yeah.
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I like him out of Missouri. He had the fastest 40 time of any tight end in this class and had a faster 40 time than even some of the receivers. So he had some production issues in this year, and that's understandable. You know, lost his quarterback, got a new one, Kelly Bryant. He did what he could, but didn't have that same production he had with Drew Lock.
Absolutely not.
But he definitely, regardless of what you might think about his overall play, he definitely improved his draft stock. Yeah.
This is something we'll be talking about a lot because me and Topher had a conversation pre-recording. You can't put too much weight into the combine. You know that a lot of this is basically like, think of this as like lunch in high school. This is where not a whole lot's really going to happen, but this is where all the rumors start. This is where this is where the most talk happens. Tell me I'm wrong.
No, you're totally right. This is where they get to meet with teams and talk. Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if they've never talked about this, but if they talked crap about other players.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I feel like imagine if Jacob Eason's meeting with the Patriots and he was like, yo, that Jake Fromm dude's a real weirdo.
It's like,
yeah. You shouldn't, even if you don't draft me, you shouldn't draft him. No way.
We were at UGA together.
Yeah.
He was real weird, and don't wait next year because that Justin Field kid is even worse. It's also, think about that quarterback room. Eason, never mind. That's a completely different topic that we'll be able to get into later. But
yeah.
The combine, I think all it's worth is starting rumors. We saw what was happening in Washington we want to bring in Tua to be competition for Dwayne Haskins, which makes no sense to me. We saw plenty of rumors that, a player later on in this list that we'll talk about, completely struggling in the interview portion, which would drop his combine. It's a lot of hearsay right now. And Albert O will be hyped up because of how fast he ran, but we all know he wasn't doing that in pads.
Yeah, listen, his overall play and his tape, his everything other than that 40 time, it's nothing to be a fanboy over. Regardless, rumor mill has his stock going way up.
Yeah.
So there's a lot to like about what his combine did for his status.
Oh yeah, absolutely. He is one of the biggest beneficiary. beneficiaries of this little season. But one guy that got brought to my attention that I went back, rewatched some of that tape, and really liked what I saw, Chase Claypool from Notre Dame.
Monster. He is Thor.
Yeah, he's a freak.
Yeah, 6'4", 238, and those numbers, man.
My thing is he was an accidental tape guy for me. I say that a lot, but obviously we were going back watching Cole Kmet. I didn't watch a lot of Ian Book, but at the beginning of the season, I was like, is he going to do anything? Obviously, we know he didn't.
Looking at.
Yeah, but so I kind of got my feel of the Notre Dame offense. And then I look at Chase Claypool, who was rumored to become a tight end. Obviously, he didn't play tight end last year because of Cole Kmet. But everybody was like, we don't think he'll be fast enough to be an outside receiver. You could make him a matchup nightmare. Well, he ran a 4.42, and I don't think he's moving inside anytime soon.
No shot.
He shows out on tape. Once you're focusing on him, he's kind of one of those sneaky guys. You know what I mean? Like, he'll get 6 catches, 80 yards on you, and you don't even realize he's got it.
I like the comp of Kenny Galladay.
Yeah, I
think it's a very similar look. I mean, just the size, the speed, he's a jump ball guy. You know, he's that end of the game. You need the yards, just crank it up, and he'll be there.
He's a quick. I don't want to necessarily call him a possession guy, but whenever he has the ball, he is not 4.42 fast.
No, he'll be he's not a big rack guy. No, he's a Brandon Marshall-esque type of receiver.
Yeah, he keeps it simple, but he'll be able to stay on the outside strictly because of those numbers. Now, Topher, we've hit the good. Give me a little bit about the bad. Who do you have as your biggest dud from the weekend?
And I hate what I'm about to tell everyone here. Because he's my guy.
He is your guy. I like me some insert player name here because you're yet to say it, but
Jake Fromm, the most vanilla quarterback in this class. He's a pocket passer. He's not going to hurt you, but he's not going to win you the game.
The most vanilla quarterback. Was that our superlative we gave him?
No, he was best to take home the
basically
mom and dad.
It was. So basically, yes, it was.
Might as well have been. The most vanilla quarterback. But listen, they're looking at all the wrong stuff here. Because they're looking at stuff we already knew. Because he had Andrew Thomas. We never saw him display the wheels that he doesn't have. He ran the slowest 40 time of any quarterback in this. Well, that ran.
Yeah.
And we already knew that he struggled with the deep ball. Because they were calling him out. Like, that spiral and the accuracy got shaky when you threw over 50 yards or something like that. And yeah, we already knew that. We watched the tape. He's from Georgia. Obviously, we're watching him play. He never throws 50, 60 yards.
That's not his thing.
It's not his offense.
He's not designed to be that.
But they're calling him out, and now they're talking about him falling in the draft, and that hurts my feelings.
Yeah.
Realistically,
I could see him falling below Jalen Hurts, strictly for the fact that I really like Jalen Hurts learning behind Cam Newton in Carolina. I could see them going for him maybe late second if they trade up into it. I would love to see Fromm in Minnesota.
If he got the purple and gold.
Because he's just Kirk
Hey, man,
Jr.
we can just let Kirk walk.
He's Kirk Jr. He really is.
He
does
is.
all the same
Kirk
stuff.
doesn't throw the deep ball, and, he keeps it simple. He can get those dip and dunks, and he's not going to miss those passes when you need them.
No. But moving on, outside of the fact you brought up Jake Fromm's 40, I would like to point out who had the fastest quarterback combine time, which would be my boy, Cole McDonald.
Yeah, I can't believe you didn't have him as your stud.
He should have been.
He had a sick combine.
He should have been. I will admit, he looked phenomenal. But I already knew he was going to look like that. So I can't even act surprised. Chase Claypool, I didn't know that was coming. Another one I didn't know was coming was how underwhelming Juwan Jennings was going to be. And no offense to the guy, I still think he can be a great player. But you come in, the second lowest scores in wide receivers in both of these. He had a 4.7 240, and he had a 29-inch vertical, man. What are you supposed to do with that? You come in, you looking like potentially a top 10 receiver in this class.
End arounds?
Yeah, well, even if that. But it's just, it was hard to watch sometimes.
You know why it was hard to watch? They were like, "Hey, your comp is Cordarrelle Patterson. You can't put that." Listen,
Oh my God.
Listen,
Oh no.
despite the fact that maybe I'm a little bit of a homer on this particular
A
topic,
little bit.
he
of
is
a
my
homer.
favorite player of all time, Cordarrelle Patterson, coming out of Tennessee. Their leader in all-purpose yards.
You want to take a guess at whose jersey that is that brought that to the studio?
I don't think they need to.
Yeah.
But despite the fact of that, you're putting a lot of pressure on him not to produce in the NFL, particularly as Cordarrelle Patterson has been relegated to basically strictly kick returns, but he's one of the best special teamers in the league.
Yeah.
But the pure athleticism that he brings to the game, you can't be like, oh, this guy's going to be a Cordarrelle Patterson. No, there's not a lot of them. There's not a lot of freak athletes coming through drafts nowadays. But despite Henry Ruggs running a 4.27.
I don't dig too deep into comps because everybody's going to see something a little different. We've seen just about every make and model to this point. Obviously, there's going to be something or another that comes along that's just the brand new hot thing, kind of like Lamar Jackson was last year, Pat Mahomes was the year before that. There's always going to be something brand new.
And listen, that the year 2013, the brand new thing was getting uber athletic receivers. Cordarrelle Patterson should never have been a first round pick.
No, God no.
Shouldn't have been. Was he the all-purpose? Like I said, all-purpose yards at Tennessee. Yeah, but like that was rushing and receiving, and like it's kind of unfair to bring him into the combine and be like, hey, you're a first rounder now because you went off. Like the production.
Either way, it doesn't. Everybody's going to see something else in a player. They're going to try to relate it to different bits and pieces. Juwan Jennings, I'm not worried about his comp. I'm worried about the fact that he's already had multiple injuries coming into this. He had an incident where he got kicked off the team because he was criticizing the coaches for not playing him. Granted, he did get brought back. With combine numbers like that, I'm not sure that he's a draftable person anymore. He's already got red flags on the field and off. I think it takes him completely off my draft board.
I'm not so sure about that because of a few things.
Okay.
If you watched the combine, the only name you were hearing that wasn't a player in the combine was Deebo Samuel.
Yes.
And for a guy like this who was, being sold as, a super athlete that you're just going to run in your offense, I can see him being moved into that special teams end-around role that Deebo Samuel had a lot with the 49ers this year.
I just don't think it's worth the risk. With how many problems there have been to this point, I don't know that is the right move. I don't think that that's the guy to go try to get to be your special teamer.
I mean, yeah, you might be right. He might be completely off a lot of teams' draft boards with all these red flags. But, I don't know, maybe.
Hey, look at that. The Combine made us create a different rumor just on our show.
Bang.
That's the magic of the Combine. But speaking on a little bit more of the magic of the Combine, it's letting us see more and more what the teams are going to do in free agency, which is the next big thing for us. So me and Topher, we've decided to take our player that's going to benefit the most and our player that's going to benefit the least from the Combine. Topher, start us off. Who do you think is going to benefit the least?
I'm sorry, James Bradbury, but your bag might be in trouble because he was ready to make bank this offseason.
$15 million.
Yeah, that's what he's asking for. That's probably not what he's going to get anymore because every corner in this draft class, for some reason, is projected to go in the top 2 rounds. And if that's the case, he should be worried about his money. Because if everyone's going to be drafting corners, from Okuda in the top 5 to Dantzler in the top 64, there's 8 corners between those two.
Oh, yeah.
Where does he fit? I mean, he was going to be signed to a $15 million deal as likely like a 2 corner behind a superstar. Realistically,
he's going to, and I don't even think you can stretch it to being $15 million. Because if you're the number 2 corner, that's not where you're getting paid. You're getting paid somewhere between 9 and 11.
And that's probably what he's looking at from any team. Because you even look at like the Falcons, who are probably one of the more cornerback needy teams in the league. And they still have Desmond Trufant under contract for almost $12 million a year. And Isaiah Oliver is looking like a real promising prospect.
Yeah, he looks solid.
Where is he going to fit if he's asking for $15 million?
Here's what my the big board I've made for the overall draft. I have 11 corners projected to go before the third round, which would be Okudah, Kristen Fulton, Jeff Gladney, Damon Arnett, C.J. Henderson, Cameron Dantzler, Trevon Diggs, Bryce Hall, Jalen Johnson, Troy Pride, and Noah from Auburn, because I don't know how to say that last name yet.
I don't blame you. That is a difficult one to say.
With Darnay Holmes, a mid-third round pick, as well as A.J. Terrell.
I still like A.J. Terrell. I know you don't, but,
I do think that he is getting hit awfully hard from that championship game, and he's a serviceable corner. I don't think he's my guy, though. Nothing really jumps off the page whenever I watch him. It's not necessarily from bad viewing. It's from not particularly good viewing.
That's fair. Yeah. But all that being said...
Sorry, I got off on a tangent.
Yes, with all of that happening, he is going to lose money because of this red-hot defensive backs class. Yeah. But enough from me, although I'm sure you all love to hear me talk. Who do you have gaining the most from all of this?
Gaining the most, I went with Teddy Bridgewater. He seemed like the odd man out coming into free agency early, because we've got established markets for Brady, for Phillip Rivers. Jameis Winston has been batted around a lot, but at least we know he's being talked about. Teddy Bridgewater was just kind of there, which is the last thing we expected whenever we were looking at this class a year ago. We figured he was going to be the top dog.
Yeah, 5-0 on the Saints. Exactly. I know it's the Saints. You have an offensive line that's produced of, stone, but you also have Mike Thomas, Traquan Smith.
But you're the quarterback
put in a
scheme that's not designed for you at all. Drew Brees and Teddy Bridgewater do not play the same, and not many plays can be switched on that short notice. Bridgewater went into a scheme that he did not make sense for and still won.
Yeah, but he's also been on that team for...
Okay. But you can't. You don't really.
When did he leave the Vikings and sign with the Jets and then get
3
traded?
3 years ago, I believe.
There you go. Yeah, he's been on 3 teams already in his career. Mm-hmm. Former first-round pick. It's a little surprising.
He could still be a stud, but either way, he is really getting to see a lot of his market get patched up with Eason's struggles at the combine. Not only did he have a rough weekend on the field, apparently it's being reported that he was not the best in interviews. It was taking it too lightly, didn't really seem too serious about what was going on.
A tad too casual for the coaches and owners' liking.
Yeah, and so with Bridgewater obviously initially being the odd man out, now he's looking at the Buccaneers, who were a potential target for Eason, the Colts, maybe even the Patriots.
These were all people we were talking about for Eason.
Yeah.
And completely off topic, Fromm met with the Patriots before the combine.
Yes.
An informal meeting with the Patriots.
And then after,
which got me really excited. And then he became a dud, which made me sad. But moving on.
I digress. Teddy Bridgewater stands to have the best market increase, at least from my view so far. Topher, who has been your most built-up player from the combine? Who you think's earning the more money now?
And believe me, I'm a huge offensive line guy. I've been looking at a lot of offensive linemen out of this class. The tackles, they performed wildly, but that's for you to talk about. Yeah. For me, I'm going to be talking about how poorly the guards performed, despite the Fresno State guard Muti putting up 44 reps.
God.
None of them were able to perform on the field. And that is where I get my man, Joe Tooney, the Patriots guard. That man, he was going to probably be making, a little over 10, which is already a lot for an offensive lineman. But with no one really coming out of the draft that they can, plug and play into their offense. Like last year, we had Eric McCoy, Elgington Jenkins, and some others.
Yes.
This year, none.
No.
No one to talk about. But
The top
you can get
Cesar Ruiz, and he's
But Cesar Ruiz. Cesar Ruiz is actually going to be a talented prospect, and I'd like to see what he can do in the NFL if he gets the opportunity to start.
inside the first 40 picks, though, is a stretch.
Exactly, and that's why Joe Tooney is about to get
Exactly.
bank of a pass blocking, run blocking. He can do everything.
He's
He
just
can
a
play.
blocking.
Yes, he's an all-around rock on an offensive line who's probably going to be making about $15 million a year after this. And yeah, that's going to be awesome. I love when offensive linemen get paid.
Yeah, huge beneficiary. And as you were obviously talking about a class that showed off really weak, I'm going to go ahead and flip that. Let's look at the current free agent tackles that are about to be the offensive tackles. DJ Humphries is having a party right now. He got his bag, and he is out of there.
He robbed the Cardinals because they decided to pay him before the combine.
Man, and they're watching Mekhi Becton and Tristan Wirfs put on maybe two of the most astonishing performances I've seen in the past couple of years. Tristan Wirfs ran a sub 540. He came in at over 330 pounds. Think about that.
Yeah, he's a freak.
And it's just, look at the guys that are about to come out. Anthony Costanzo and Brian Bulaga, they're both going to be too old to fit in with those younger cores, especially whenever you see a guy like Mekhi Becton, Tristan Wirfs, Andrew Thomas, Jedrick Wills. All four of those guys have all-pro potential. They will and truly do, as well as Josh Jones coming in later. I don't see how any of those players, or Trent Williams, I don't think his market will be near as impressive now that we've seen that performance.
I think I feel the worst for Costanzo because this guy was considering retirement last year after he heard about Andrew Luck retiring. And now he's here and he's like, all right, I'm ready to come back with the Colts, but I need money.
Yes.
And now the Colts are going to be looking at him like, how much do you want, buddy? Because we have plenty to pick from.
I can't imagine them taking an offensive tackle in the first round.
I mean, with Eason, he's potentially going to be falling. And obviously, C.D. Lamb, if he's available, they'd like him either. But we could be looking at, a first-round tackle from them. And now with Eason just taking that so lightly, they could think, well, we still like the way he played.
Yeah.
We could probably get him in the second round now.
See, and they have the second overall pick in the second from the Redskins for that Montez Sweat trade. But I think I like Javon Kinlaw going there more so than I do a tackle. But either way, they have plenty of options. Not just from those guys we mentioned. They've still, like I said, Josh Jones later could be a second round pick. Prince Tega, Trey Adams.
I love Prince Tega.
There are tons of options for them.
Yes, so they have all of the leverage over Costanzo. Yeah. Poor guy. All these 30-year-old tackles that are hitting the free agent market, they were looking to get paid because, they're high-quality tackles.
If Washington wouldn't have waited as long as they did, they might have a late first round, early second round pick right now. But after the combine, I don't think you get more than a late second, early third out of Trent Williams because he's already hurt his stock because he's like, I'm not coming back. It switched from obviously being a medical issue. Now it's the financial side of it that they're trying to work out. It's so difficult to watch. Because it just feels like every step it starts getting better, and then it drops off a cliff again.
Well, you
get rid of Bruce Allen's. He wants the contract extension for another 2-3 years or whatever it is.
Well, you can thank Dan Snyder for that.
I say he likes Dan from all accounts.
I thought this started as Dan's fault.
Bruce Allen.
Oh,
The LGM and the medical staff.
Medical staff?
Yes.
What do they have to do with it?
They missed a tumor on his brain. Yeah. But Dan Snyder was one of the first people to show up at the hospital. So, Dan Snyder said, get all these, for lack of a better word, morons out.
God, this is like when AD left the Pelicans and was like, oh yeah, no, that's the worst place on earth.
Or Kawhi.
Yeah,
Very
Kawhi.
similar to Kawhi's situation. But
Okay.
hey, if you want to hear more about basketball news, go to our sister channel, Beyond the Buzzer, or not even really channel, just sister podcast, Beyond the
Yeah.
Buzzer.
Same channel.
They dig basketball stuff. They're big sports ball fans, as Topher would call it.
Yes, I'm a sports ball fan.
Oh me, but no, yeah, that covers our free agent off tackles. You got anything else you want to add, Topher?
I thought I did. We could talk about Jake Fromm more if you guys want. Leave some. If you have any suggestions for what we should do next show, leave them in the comments.
Yeah, if you've got any questions or you saw anything from the combine that you really enjoyed, want to talk to us about, I'll even put up our Twitters right now, or your Instagram, my Twitter. Yeah, leave it in the comment section below. Get at us with either one of those links. But yeah.
And we will be coming to TikTok shortly. I know we're throwing a lot at you at the end here, but we forgot to mention earlier.
Tons of channel updates. Tons of channel updates. But Topher, can you go ahead and give them a bit of a preview on what to expect from the TikTok?
I'm sure everyone has heard the legend of Drippy J.
No, none of them have.
You should have,
that
because
might
it
be
is going
something.
to be viral soon
That
if
might
you
be
can help
something.
that happen.
That might be something we put up on the channel.
Drippy J, Coach Chris, we're going to have a whole bunch of stuff. And don't forget the name Grandpa, because they will all be prevalent players in the Nexus Sports Network podcast.
Oh,
Get
my
excited.
God. So I guess that's the preview for the TikTok.
I mean, yeah, what else would it be?
Oh, Maple, that's definitely been a very eventful podcast from myself. I've been Jackson McCarty.
And I am Chris Spar.
We'll see you guys next time.